There are many mistakes that you can make in Call of Dragons that will set back your account significantly in the early game. In this video, I'm going to cover some of the most important ones, as well as give you some tips on how to make your account stronger from the beginning. Hey everyone, my name is Zoraz from Non-Casuals, and today I'm bringing you a guide on Call of Dragons. Now, the first major mistake that can really set you back in Call of Dragons is going to be messing up your heroes. Now, what I mean by this is that the first ability of every hero is going to have a rage cost, as you can see here. Now, that means that it is their active ability. It is what they cast. It's kind of like a spell that every hero has, which means it's also most likely their best ability in almost every case, the only exception being Gatherers and maybe Engineers, which means that if you don't level up this one first and you unlock all the other skills, and then you go and attribute tokens to upgrade their skills, it will go randomly between whatever you have unlocked. And if you haven't maxed out the first ability, you will have your hero much weaker than someone who has the same hero but maxed out the first ability. Now, I've done it properly on my villain. It is exactly how it should be. You should always max out the first ability. Now, the level doesn't matter, but as you can see, the star is what unlocks it. So you can bring your hero to whatever level you want. Just don't increase their star level. Now, here, Guanwin is another example. I have her at level 26, and her ability is at 4 points. So I am not giving her these stars. I am not upgrading this, because if I do, it will unlock her other abilities. And then when it does, and I go to attribute some skills, it will go into other abilities. And I don't want that until her first ability is maxed, because her first ability is her best ability. These ones are little buffs, peacekeeping buff, and extra percentage damage and attack and all that kind of stuff. It's all good, but nowhere near as good as her first ability. And that is the same for almost every hero, especially legendary ones. As you can see here on my Lilia, I also maxed out her first before unlocking the rest. And I did it on my villain, I did it on my Guanwin, I did it on my Atias. Now you get the gist. I'm doing this on every hero because it's just so meaningful. Now, another major mistake that I see people do too often is wasting CP. CP is one of the most important resources in this game. It allows you to fight dark monsters of many kinds. You can farm material for your artifacts, you can farm experience, and a lot of other stuff. So it is very important. As you can see, it takes about 8 hours and 30 seconds for me to regenerate the rest of my bar, 1,000. And I have a lot of research that allows me to have more than the original amount, which I think is like about 1,000. So especially at the beginning of the game, if you go to bed and your bar is like almost full, you're going to be wasting hundreds and hundreds of CP that will regenerate for nothing because you won't have the capacity for them. And you're basically wasting it, which is worth a lot of experience, a lot of materials. So it's very important that before you go to bed, you drain this bar as much as you can, so that at least when you click here and it shows full recovery in 8 hours, 30 minutes, well, you know that if you're waking up in 7 or 8 hours, at least you will have time to spend it and it won't have regenerated for nothing and wasted all of that CP, which is very bad to do because it will really set you back, especially in the early game. Now, another major thing is going to be related to the Alliance Center and the Alliance Help. Now, of course, one big mistake you could be doing is not being in an alliance. That is the worst mistake you can do. This whole game is based around being in an alliance. You must join an alliance. You can change alliance as you progress. Of course, at the beginning, you can join some random small alliance and then just keep trying to find the people that you think have the same schedule and the same interests as you. Because when you are in an alliance, you get help chances. Now, at level 17, I have 21. You can see that you can go to 25 and then you'll have 30 help chances. Now, what are help chances? You can see this little thing here. I click it. I'm helping speed up building and upgrade and research for my allies. Now, it will go in here. You can help. This is basically all of the things that I'm researching and training. And you can see I reduced these by hours. Like my wall, it reduced 9 hours of speed up by being in the alliance. Basically, every point of alliance help that you get, basically every help that you get reduces by 1% or 1 minute, depending on which one is higher. So obviously later on in the game, it's going to be 1%. So when you're going to be at level 25 Alliance Center, you're going to reduce by 30%. Every research, every building you do, it is huge, it's massive. It will really save you a lot of time. 30% is a very big number. As you can see here, I got my 21 help for everything, and then I'm reducing 34, 1 hour 48, 2 hour 58, 9 hours. So before you go and try and speed up buildings and go like this and try and speed up, make sure that you've gotten all your helps. Otherwise, you'll be using speed ups for nothing and wasting a lot of extra time. As well as make sure that upgrade the Alliance Center as you progress with your City Hall, because you are going to be getting more and more helps, and it is going to make a big impact in your gameplay, especially in the late game when buildings can take a week or two to build. 30% is going to save you many days worth of speed ups. Now, while we're talking about speeding up things, one very crucial mistake that I see people doing often is going to be, for example, you're upgrading one of your training buildings like this. Now you ask for help. Now, when you are upgrading one of these buildings, it is very important that you don't let the whole timer run. For example, right now I ask for help. Of course, the timer is reducing and I will not speed it up until I have gotten all my help, as we just talked about. But when I get all my help, it'll be about 9 hours. It is very important that you speed this up. This building, especially all the training buildings and the research building. The reason behind that is that while these are upgrading, they're not training. So you're wasting hours of training time that is being not done because you are upgrading the building. As you can see, training these troops take hours and hours. So basically, this is training for me, 800 troops. Now, 800 troops is the same timer as this will take to upgrade. So if you speed this up and start a new training, you will be basically having all the value of the training and it won't be lost. If you forget to and you let this run for 9 hours and then you go away, well, for those 9 hours, you will have no units. You could have been training hundreds of units extra, and it's really just not a good way of doing it. So now I've gotten almost all my help. I would then go and use my speed ups so that I make sure that I do not waste all this time not training. Now I can go back right away and train units so that it's not wasted. So this is one of those places where you have to keep your speed ups for, because it is basically double value for the speed up. When you're speeding it up, you're basically saving yourself all that wasted time. This goes for the same when you are upgrading the research building. For my race, it's the College of Order here. So of course, if I was to be upgrading this, I would be wasting up my research. This whole time that it would be upgrading, it wouldn't be researching. So again, when you are upgrading the building for research or upgrading the building for troops, I would always recommend you speed them up after you've gotten all the helps for them, of course. Now, one other mistake that you can do in the early game, it is not as major of a mistake, but it is still something that can impact you, is researching the first researches too early. So of course you'll need to research the first one, but you see these 2 rows here, you will be able to get all of these research for free by just exploring the map. Same goes for the economy tree. You can get all 5 of these for free without doing anything. Now, the way it works is basically if you go in here and you see astrologer camps, when you visit them, will offer you an option of getting free tech, as you can see here. Now, this only applies to the first few techs that I mentioned. So, of course, it's free to research anything else afterwards. But don't research these because you will be basically wasting your time, because you will get them for free. And there are many astrologer camps in this map that you will find. I would recommend maybe you level them up to level 1 so that you unlock the research, and then you go and do these to make them all level 5 for free. You're saving hundreds of hours of research time as well as a lot of resources. Now, this only works for the astrologer camp, of course, so you need to find them specifically. I've done quite a few of them. I've already researched all my economy, but this is really just showing you that all of them are free. It just keeps getting them. It's pretty significant because, for example, if I go here, look at this. This is 2 hour research, 20,000 of each resource for free. I'm going to get it. Don't research it. Same here, 10,000 here, then level 4, level 5. It's going to be the same for all of these. It's going to add up and it's going to save you just a lot of time, especially in the early game. So make sure that you are utilizing this free research in the game instead of just using your own speed ups and resources. Now, another major thing that I've seen people get wrecked in this game from is if you go in your box here and you'll see you have a lot of extra things, especially resources. You're going to get these from pay to win packages as well as from all the events in the game. And it is very important that you do not go and do this. You go like, oh, max or whatever, and then you use it all. It would be a very bad mistake. I'll do it on this one because it's not too big. Boom, I've received 78,000 mana. Now, if I did this here, I would receive 33 million gold. Now, I don't need to have all that gold right now because I would go only as you need. So, for example, you're going to come and let's say I'm going to upgrade a building. I need all this thing. Well, when you need it for the building, then you can use it and get to the number you need. And that's it. I would never ever go and pop them all at once. The reason for that being that in this game, you can get attacked and your resource can get stolen. Now, at the beginning of the game, there are a lot of people with a lot of alliances, a lot of action, and you can get hit by mistake or you can get hit because some alliance is taking over your territory. For those who are not experts at this game, of course, you will not exactly know what's going on, but you won't really lose anything except a bit of your troops and all of your resources. So if you don't have any resources, you are not going to be a target. People won't really want to attack you. So for example, if I come here and I scouted this city the other day, I can see this person has, very few units, very weak units, but millions of resources. So they've popped a lot of their boxes because this person has a city like level 5. Obviously, this person might have quit the game, so it might not matter. But if you don't quit the game and you just play casually, well, you would become a target, as opposed to this person who has absolutely nothing in his city. So even if they're very weak, I would not attack them, because why would I? It doesn't gain me anything. I don't want to bully small players, but if they have millions of resources, someone will attack you, and that is going to be a big mistake, because you will really get a lot of your progress halted that way and lose a lot of resources that you can just keep in your box for free. It doesn't cost anything to have all of this stuff here. It's basically meant to stay there forever, as long as you don't need them. When you need them, pop a few boxes at a time only, and that's it. In that same aspect, a good tip here is if you do need resources, make sure to do all these quests here. As you can see here, I have so many resources here that I can claim for free. And obviously, don't claim them until you need them, because for the same reason, you're going to stack resources and going to become a target. But you can see there's so many little quests, like, you know, research, upgrade this, research this, upgrade this. It's all very small things you're going to be doing anyways, no matter what. So make sure that you wait until you claim all of these, and then that you use these before you use your boxes, because these are obviously much more easy to access than your boxes that you can keep forever. Now, another huge tip that I can give to most players is, if you have ever played this game for quite a bit, you'll notice that sometimes you've misclicked this button, right? And then luckily, this says this will cost this amount of gem, proceed. Obviously, I do not want to spend gem to upgrade. I can just upgrade it and wait. It's obviously very, very inefficient to use gems in here. It is basically making you buy all the resources and all the speed ups at full price. So it's very, very bad. Now, don't do this. Don't do unclick and then cancel or whatever, because if you say don't remind me again, the next time you click here, it will not ask you. It will just do it. Now, I've had friends who were upgrading really expensive buildings and then went and just did this, and the price was like 10,000 gem, and that was all they had, and they clicked it by mistake and all their gems were gone. And this can really crush an account, especially small spenders or, you know, free-to-play players can really get crushed by this. So never uncheck that. And if you do by accident check the box that says don't bother me again, you have to come in your options here in customization and then confirm gem use. This is the one you want, this green. You want this on, because I guarantee you, you're going to be playing at 2 a.m. at some days, or 7 a.m. You're waking up and you just click randomly and boom, you've just done all your gem by one mistake. You click the wrong building, boom, everything's gone. It can get quite expensive, especially if you are, for example, trying to upgrade something like this with 6 million resource, 6 million, all of this. This would be tens of thousands of gems, and then you will have a lot of gems from event in this game that you would basically just be wasting for something that is not worth it. Now, another tip I want to give is going to be basically a mistake that I see a lot of people do, is they will go and level up a ton of characters and then end up not using them. Don't use all your tomes on all the characters in the game. Like you can see, I keep a lot of ones level 1, level 2, like basically very low level. I spend no attention to them. I only level them by being gathering, basically, which is free. So basically just focus on a few heroes that you're going to bring in combat, because you want to bring them high level quickly. Level 30 unlocks all their skill, and then level 40 will unlock the expertise when you have it. So you will really need them to be high level, because if you are fighting with every like character level 20, you will be missing skills and you won't have enough tomes. The tomes are quite rare, and basically with all of this that I have, I could maybe not even bring this guy to level like 37 or 38. They become very expensive, 47,000 XP for one level. You will need a lot of it. So you will most likely want to have 1 or 2 very strong high level marches, instead of like having 10 heroes that are all mid-level. It will really hinder you in the long run. As you can see, I'm focusing on a few of them only. I'm doing a lot of mages because that's going in my play. And if you've watched my other video where I explain all of the leveling process with gatherers, I have spent 0 tomes on these guys. 28, 29, 28. I have not spent a single tome. 26, 21. The reason being that I do the gathering talent here and the gathering talent here, and then eventually the gathering talent here, which basically adds up to almost over 50,000 XP per day for free by gathering, and then they bring a secondary. So my whole video covers this, so make sure to check it out. It will be down below in the description if you want to see it. But there is many ways of getting free XP on all these low levels. I've not spent anything on all these 16, 15. They're all just going with my gatherers and getting free XP on that way. Keep your tomes for the main heroes you want to level though, because that is going to be a very hot commodity, because it's quite rare to get tomes in this game. It is one of the biggest bottleneck in the game. It's experience for your heroes. Now the same goes for artifacts. As you can see here, you know, I have quite a lot of artifacts. I keep most of them level 1. The reason being that it becomes quite expensive to level as you go. I have quite a lot of materials. I'm saving them up for when I want an artifact to be really strong. If you are going to do a lot of PvP, you will want artifacts that are focusing on PvP because it will help your legion in the map. Now, don't go and waste all of your materials on peacekeeping stuff like this one and like this one. While this is a pretty good artifact, it seems like, it only deals damage to legions, dark creatures and stuff. So this is completely useless against players in the way that you can't use its ability on them. So if you go and spend all of your materials, and you can see, you gain a little bit of buff, which is good, and then you can also increase their star level by using other artifacts. But this is obviously not the best way to do so. If you want to do a PvP player, or if you want to be a PvE player, you want to focus on certain artifacts, and the cost is quite high. So I would recommend that you choose a few artifacts. You can level them a little bit. I brought this to level 15 to give it a little bit of buff because the experience is pretty low. But don't go and waste all of these resources on the star and the leveling, because you will need them later on. You will want to bring some of these quite high level, especially on the march that you're going to be fighting with in PvP. So again, just make sure that you don't spend everything all for no reason. It's also a way of getting a lot of power at first, same for heroes. So you want to make sure that you save these things for when you really need them. Now, one of the last mistakes that I want to talk about here is the same mistake that I did. In the policies, there's quite a lot of very good stuff, and it is quite easy to get, and you can get pretty much everything. There's nothing wrong here, but except here, you get to choose between these two, and then there's more of these down the line where you have a choice, and when you choose one, the other one is completely blocked. And there's another one, I think, here. Basically, you get to choose, as you can see. Now, if you are going to be a massive whale and you are going to be spending on healing, then you can choose the one that allows you daily resource healing. Basically, this unlocks more free healing or more resource healing in your hospital. So every day now, because I've researched this, I get 10,000 more healing in my hospital. And then, of course, I can add to this all the way up to 40,000. So this gives me 50,000 troops for free that I can heal in my hospital every day. That's great. If you're a whale and you're going to be using hundreds of thousands of troops, well, this would give you, I think, 100,000 total. Yeah, exactly. But you'd have to pay for them. And healing troops with paying for them means you have to use resources, and it means it's expensive. So a whale who will be fighting a lot will want to pick these guys because this will allow them to use more troops, and they don't care. They're going to spend the money to make them heal and to fight over and over again. But if you're not a whale, do not pick this one, because the free healing is going to be way more value for you, and you're not going to want to spend resource on this. You're just going to want to hold back for a few days while your troops heal. Now, I took the resource healing here, which is probably a mistake on my end. I didn't know better at the beginning. It's still not too bad because it unlocks a pretty big percentage, and if you need to heal a big chunk at once, and obviously I'm not a whale at all, but I'm also not free to play, so I can afford it. But I would recommend for most people, I would go with the free healing. It's just too good to be otherwise, and unless you're spending hundreds of dollars in this game, it won't be worth it. I would never ever recommend doing anything else than the free healing. The resource healing is not going to be worth it, even though the percentages are halved. It's just, it's not going to be good. Now, the last mistake I want to cover, it's a pretty minor mistake, but at the beginning of the game, you will spawn in a random zone. As you can see here, there's Zoland, there is Forgotten Lands, Dalaran, Nuvola. Now, this is where I am. There's this one, and this one. Now, the ones in the middle are going to be for later on. Nobody spawns in them. But at the beginning, you will have a few random teleports for free given to you. And you will basically be able to switch zones however you like, up to 5 times, because you have 5 of these teleports. And you will basically be able to join only alliances that are in one of these zones. So if you spawn in Burning Lands and your friend's alliance is in Nuvola, well, you can teleport to Nuvola, establish this as your new zone, and then join an alliance that is established in Nuvola, right? That is what I did myself. I started in Forgotten Land. I found an alliance here. I explored, you can see 47%, but then I found a better alliance in Nuvola, and then I joined and moved up there. Now, what the mistake here is that once you reach Town Hall, or my Hall of Order, whatever it's called for your faction, once this reaches level 12, you will not be able to do this anymore. It will not be allowed. It doesn't say it here, but it says it on the town portal when you have it. It basically will block you in whatever zone you are. You are going to be stuck in it for quite a while. It will change only when you get here. Resurgence, basically, we're not that far off from it, but it's basically a few days. I mean, even I'd say probably 2 weeks into the server, you will be able to change your affiliated region. So, of course, if you get to level Town Hall 12 quite early, which is really quite fast, to be honest, even for free to play, and then you're stuck in a zone that you don't like, well, we don't have an alliance, and you get attacked and you want to switch, well, you might, have quite a bad time until you have to wait another week or 2 before you can move again. So it is really something that I recommend you focus on at the beginning. Find a place that you want to be in, find a lines that you want to be in, and then go in that zone, and then go to town level 12 or higher. Then it doesn't really matter if you are in the right zone. You don't really want to change zone anymore, because you will not be able to do anything else otherwise. As you can see here, you know, this is my zone, and this is where I've been since the beginning. I basically on day 1, and I have it all explored. Now we just had the passes unblocked, so we can go explore the other zones, but we still can't move there. I can't do anything in these zones until quite a few days from now. And, you know, there's going to be war and all that stuff happening. So it's really important that you establish yourself before you get there. So that's about it for all the mistakes. Of course, there's more. I'm going to release some more guides about some of the most efficient tips and tricks to do in the beginning to really get your account further without having to spend, or with doing just things efficiently. Of course, make sure to check out my guide on how to level your heroes, because that is the biggest aspect of this game, and it is very important that you do it right from the beginning, because it's the one thing that whales can do faster than free-to-play players. So if you do it right, you can still be quite a contender even against many whales. So it is something that is very important to focus on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, make sure to ask in the comment. As always, we'll be happy to answer and give you as many tips as we can. And until next time, I hope to see you guys on the next video.